Hello, everybody. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. I'm your host, Sam Michael, and want to thank Quickly Coffee Cabin and usually NanaSweetsBakery.com for providing these treats here most of the time, though Nana's not here today. Obviously, we got the cupcakes instead.
Actually, Nana, Jennifer's got some health issues.
Oh, she's under the weather. Okay. Okay, well then we'll be thinking about Nana and hopefully back soon. I want to remind folks this show is every Wednesday, 9:15 to 10 o'clock. Today, our presenter, John Beutner, usually with his partner Jason Metz, but it's just John today who won second place at the Burton Morgan Business Model Competition at the Purdue Foundry last month. And they created packs of Nutri-Sprouts, which is using frozen broccoli sprouts, the most potent source of sulforaphane, which are perfect for adding to smoothies. The product is safe and packaged for easy and convenient consumption. How about a big round of applause for John Beutner?
Hi, as Sam just mentioned, my name is John Beutner, and I'm the co-founder of Nutri-Sprout MicroFarms, along with Jason Metz, who's also a co-founder but unable to be here today. And today I'd like to share with you a little bit about my company, Nutri-Sprout MicroFarms. Basically, our mission is to provide customers with a new and improved superfood, and that new and improved superfood is broccoli sprouts. So you might have heard of some pretty famous superfoods that are out there on the market today. You might have heard about things like kale, goji berries, and blueberries. You might have heard of some more obscure things like kombucha or kefir. And all of these superfoods provide different nutrients to customers ranging from probiotics, antioxidants, and vitamins, among other things. However, broccoli sprouts provide a different set of health benefits and nutrients to customers. So broccoli sprouts have been gaining in popularity recently. Big media outlets such as ABC News, Time Magazine, and others have emphasized the benefits of broccoli sprouts, boasting about their detoxifying and cancer-fighting qualities. And the main benefits of broccoli sprouts actually come from a magical compound called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is an antioxidant-like compound that gives broccoli sprouts anti-aging, anti-carcinogenic, and anti-inflammatory qualities. And the combination of these qualities make broccoli sprouts an exceptional superfood. And so the way that sulforaphane works in the body is unique when compared to the way that other antioxidants work in the body. So the antioxidants that you might find in things like blueberries are represented by the blue, red, and yellow clusters on the screen. And these clusters are much larger than the sulforaphane compound, and their larger size prevents them from actually entering the bloodstream, which minimizes the number of carcinogens and free radicals that they can detoxify. Sulforaphane, which is represented by the green clusters on the screen, is much smaller than other antioxidant compounds, and its smaller size allows it to enter the bloodstream and even individual cells. This helps it detoxify more carcinogens and free radicals in the body than other antioxidants. So while there are many benefits of broccoli sprouts, there are some problems. For one, fresh broccoli sprouts and any other fresh sprout are much more likely to carry bacteria such as E. coli. In fact, the FDA has reported that there have been 30 outbreaks related to sprouts since 1996. And after this series of outbreaks, stores such as Kroger have stopped carrying fresh sprouts altogether. We also discovered during our early customer discovery process that a lot of people who consume broccoli sprouts like to put them in smoothies, and they also like to freeze their broccoli sprouts before adding them to smoothies, because research has shown that when you freeze broccoli sprouts, you actually increase the sulforaphane content by 1.8 times. However, we further found that a lot of customers stopped freezing their broccoli sprouts because when you freeze broccoli sprouts, they clump together, forming a broccoli sprout brick. And this brick is hard to break up and measure out for adding to a smoothie. So we developed a product that attempts to solve these problems. Basically, we solve the broccoli sprout brick issue by individually packaging our broccoli sprouts in 1-ounce packets. And these 1-ounce packets are perfect for adding to a smoothie. We also attempt to solve the safety issues by growing our product hydroponically, excluding dirt from the entire process, and then also freezing our product. Both of these try to combat any exposure that the sprouts might have to bacteria. So pictured is an MVP of our product. Basically, it's a 5-pack of 1-ounce packets of Sprouts, providing the most safe, consistent, and potent product to our customers. So this table compares frozen broccoli sprouts to the 2 direct competitors that we have, which are supplements and fresh sprouts. And we compared them on 4 different dimensions. Those dimensions are price, safety, shelf life, and sulforaphane content. And as you can see, supplements have a longer shelf life. However, they are a lot more expensive and they have a lower sulforaphane content. Fresh sprouts have a cheaper price. However, they lack in safety and shelf life. And frozen sprouts have a lower price. They're safe to consume. They have a longer shelf life, and they have a higher sulforaphane content. Moving on to our market and market size. Our product really fits well into 2 different markets, one being the smoothie and juice industry, and then the other being the health food industry. So the smoothie and juice industry in the United States is valued at $2.4 billion. However, if you're just looking at the Chicago and Northwest Indiana area, it has a value of about $72 million. And the health food market is valued at $6.5 billion in the U.S. If you're looking just at the Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana area, it's valued at about $220 million. Next are target markets and distribution channels. Our business has a B to B to C distribution channel, so business to consumer. This means that we've got 2 sets of target markets that we need to think about when we're considering our product. The first target market set is final consumers, and then the other target market set that we have to look at is retailers. So starting with our consumer segments that we've identified, segment 1 could be described as people that currently consume fresh, store-bought broccoli sprouts. Segment 2 is people that currently consume broccoli sprout supplements. Segment 3 is people that currently grow their own broccoli sprouts. Segment 4 is people that are health conscious and follow health food trends but have never heard of broccoli sprouts before. And segment 5 is people that are looking to cure certain diseases that broccoli sprouts might help with. So our retail segments are really health food stores and smoothie shops that are currently targeting at least one of the consumer segments that we've identified. Currently, we're focusing on local health food stores and smoothie shops. However, we plan to target regional and national chains as our manufacturing capacity increases and our business matures. So to summarize our segmentation and targeting strategy, you can see Nutri-Sprout MicroFarms, which is targeting local health food stores and smoothie shops, and then these retailers are targeting one of the consumer segments that we have identified. So our next steps are to make sure that our growing process meets all FDA regulations. We need to come up with a final packaging design. We need to finalize some agreements with retailers to carry our product. Right now we have one retailer in Michigan City that's agreed to carry our product, but we'd like to add a couple more to that list. And then we also need to manufacture our first round of product. We want to make sure that during this process we're communicating with retailers as much as possible to make sure we're making the correct manufacturing and packaging decisions. After we do that, it's time to revise, grow, and expand. What I mean by this is we need to revise our product by getting feedback from our retailers and our final consumers, see if we need to make any adjustments to our product. We need to grow our business by finding more retailers to carry our product, and then we want to expand our product line by exploring different products that we can manufacture with broccoli sprouts. And that's my presentation for today. If anybody has any questions, I'd like to open the floor up, and then also thanks a lot for listening to me today.
Anybody have any questions for John first? You want to start right here? Okay.
You're looking at a fellow who hates broccoli. And my question is, does a broccoli sprout taste like fresh broccoli?
No. It's actually, I would compare the taste more to like radish, but really light and radish flavor. Yeah, so yeah, it's not really like a broccoli taste. Yeah.
Great presentation. I want to congratulate you for winning second place at the Burton D. Morgan competition. How has that helped you? And I don't know if you want to tell us what you won from getting second place, but how has that helped you with your business?
Yeah, so I think the overall process was valuable outside of just like winning the money, just because we had access to people at Purdue and otherwise that were supporting us and giving us advice along the way. But then also second place, we got $10,000. So $10,000 also helps when you're trying to start a business.
Is that equity?
No, it's
free money.
Yeah, no strings attached.
Oh, sorry. I should use the mic. Great presentation. I think the other members of the committee, we've just set a new bar for when somebody says, what do we do on our presentation? We're going to show your video.
Okay.
Very, very good, John.
Thank you.
Absolutely great.
Thanks.
You quickly went through all the things you need to do.
Yeah.
And you mentioned manufacturing. Can you please explain to me how you're producing the product now and how you can envision scaling it up if your markets get bigger?
Yep, yeah, so right now we're using kind of like small 3-tiered sprouters, about that big. And basically what you do is you put the seeds in the trays, and the trays have holes in them. And you put water over them 3 times a day. This is basically rinsing the product and exposing it to water, waking the seed up so that it's going to start sprouting. And it takes about 4 days for the sprouts to grow. So.
Have you envisioned a way to maybe automate the process so you aren't watering, you aren't?
Yeah, so what kind of like the design that I have in my head. So sprouts are really small. They're maybe, like a 1/4 of an inch long. So you don't need much height, and then you also don't need any light. They sprout without being exposed to any light. So kind of the design I have is like a stack of trays, and then have some type of like an automated sprinkler system that waters it, 3 times per day on the 8-hour.
Ken wants to know if you could back up one slide on the PowerPoint.
Sure.
One question I had, simple one. Why broccoli? How did you come to the idea of, broccoli might be something, or what did you stumble upon in research that caused you to go with that above anything else?
Yeah, so we're actually listening to a podcast that was like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Joe Rogan show.
Yes, yep.
And he had a doctor on that had done a lot of research on broccoli sprouts, and they were talking about all the different health benefits of it, and then that gave me and Jason the business idea of, I don't know, let's sell broccoli sprouts.
So what do you think the biggest challenge is? I was going to ask the question we got to start off about.
Yeah.
That is probably the most commonly hated, it's the stereotypical hated vegetable, right? You got to eat your broccoli, right? So people don't usually like the taste of it. Personally, I actually do kind of like broccoli, but so much of the population does it. Is that one of the biggest challenges in trying to push a product?
I'd say that our target market is probably people that are already like eating stuff that doesn't necessarily taste good to most people because they're health conscious people.
Like kale?
Yeah, like kale, which actually I think broccoli sprouts taste a lot better than kale because they kind of lack in taste. So I think some of our bigger problems are actually like retailers that don't carry sprouts currently because of health concerns, trying to get them to carry the product and trying to convince them that our product is safe. And then also just like period getting retailers to carry our product, I think, is 2 of our biggest challenges.
So how do you convince them that it is safe?
Basically tell them, the process that we use of growing it hydroponically, freezing it, taking all these actions to not expose it to bacteria.
So you have a partner in this, obviously, Jason Metz, right?
Yep.
Right now, is it just the 2 of you guys?
Yeah. It's
As you grow, how much are you going to need other people maybe to come on? And that's the goal, obviously, I would assume, right?
Yeah, so I think we have a lot of ideas for other products that we could create using broccoli sprouts or like sulforaphane extract. And I think to do some of those products, we'll need a food scientist type person. So as far as like a first key hire, it would be like a food scientist person.
Anybody else have a question? Ken?
Great presentation.
Thanks.
Someone, I think, invented a product that is very sterile. growing median.
Yeah.
But seriously, I was looking at this list. Thanks for turning it back. And
Yep.
what's most challenging? How can maybe this community help you knock some of that out, or provide some insight on how to best get it accomplished? I think that's where Mott was going with manufacturing. And
Yeah.
Is there something else we can help you with?
So I think like the first 4 items on the list are the ones that we're really like concentrating on right now. And as far as the ones that me and Jason don't have a lot of experience with would be like meeting FDA regulations and then manufacturing. I think the manufacturing part will kind of like, we're making our own sprouts right now, and it's more just like making sure we have a process that is legal. And I think that's kind of the hardest thing, to make sure that we're using a proper process.
FDA
Hold on, Ken. Go ahead, we'll go here first.
Okay, you mentioned when you freeze it that it raises its potency.
Yeah.
So what about if you put it in like an omelet and heated it? Does it change?
Yeah, so our product is really designed for being consumed in a smoothie. So if you heat broccoli sprouts up, you're going to decrease the sulforaphane content. But it's the freezing component that actually increases it. I'm not a biologist, so I can't explain it in super in-depth, but there's basically 2 chemicals in broccoli sprouts that fuse together when you freeze it because the cell walls break, and that fusion creates sulforaphane.
Regarding the FDA regulations, what are the big challenges there? Because that does seem like could be.
So the FDA actually recently started regulating sprout growers differently from other produce growers. So there's a new law that's came out that's regulating sprouts specifically, and there's a couple of extra steps that you have to take with sprouts. There's like a heat treating process that you could use, or a chemical process, and we're wanting to stay away from the chemical process, but we're wanting to see if like how capable we would be of doing like the heat treating process or even the chemical process. It's just like a lot for us to figure out. Might have to use like some of the 10 grand to hire somebody that's done this before to really figure it out. So
John, I think you're at a stage where you've kind of proven the concept, but there are some other questions you have to answer. And
yeah.
I think, this is not going to come as a big surprise to anybody in this room, but I think you're ready for an SBIR. And
Yeah.
USDA has an SBIR program.
Okay.
I think their next open window is October 5th or first week of October is their deadline. USDA NIFA is probably a program you want to take a look at.
Okay.
Dr. Lisa Hoverman is back at her position as the SBIR coordinator for the state now. I guess that's all been formalized through Elevate Ventures. So I would highly recommend making that contact. And if you'd like an introduction, I'd be happy to do that for you.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else have a question? How about one more round of applause for John? Again, folks who just joined us on Facebook Live, maybe this is John Beutner with Nutri-Sprouts, and encourage you to go back and watch the beginning of this video for the presentation. Next week, Justin Harris with eTitle and Escrow, which is a Gary, Indiana-based startup title and escrow company. Their mission is to leverage technology to make the home closing process easier, convenient, and less time-consuming using a digital closing process. That's next week, 9:15. Every Wednesday, 9:15 here in the CMAC. One time, I want to not forget to thank Coffee Cabin and NanaSweetsBakery.com. Keeping Nana in our thoughts as she overcomes hopefully some health problems, and we will see her hopefully soon. For everybody else here at the CMEC, for 1 Million Cups from On Hanley, I'm Sam Michael. We'll see you next week.